Blessings and welcome. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot energy forecast for January 9th through the 16th of 2018. Do you believe it? We are here. Thank you so much, all of my new subscribers and everyone for watching. Thank you for liking, thumbs upping, sharing, commenting. All that stuff means so much. It was just the other day that I was watching a very, very popular astrologer and tarot card reader, and at the end of the video, my video came up with all of these really popular other videos. So I'm like, this is what it means. When we like and share and comment, it creates more of an algorithm so that my videos can get up in the, and be viewed by a larger audience. So all of those little things that you do mean so much. Thank you. Down below in the description box is a link to my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com. It is there you can subscribe and receive my monthly newsletter. I would be so jazzed. I do have a new book coming out very, very soon. It is called How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration. You'll be hearing more from me about that. So please do keep in touch. Check out my links, and thank you so much for all of your love and support. I use the Osho Zen Tarot, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Last week, I did a little thing where I did the Vegas, where we brought you down into the hub of the little mini table while we shuffled. So we're going to do that again this week. And we're going to take a moment to call in our angels and our guides. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale and thank our angels, thank our guides for always blessing us. Oh, look, we already have a bunch of poppers. For always blessing us with the most high messages that are divinely guided, that bring us the most high path, the most high love and light, support and nourishment that guides us home every step of the way, that we keep coming home to love, coming home to the truth in our hearts, and to all the beautiful ways that there are, that you bless us, our angels, heaven on earth, divine source energies. We thank you, our animal totems, all of you divine blessed beings that join us now, here, every single step of our path. We thank you, and we thank you. Totality, we had this recently. We're going to leave that card up. I'm going to go ahead and take the screen up a little bit. And we had a few that fell down. All right, so let's see what we have. We have some repeats from before. Wow, okay. There's a lot going on, man. There is a lot going on. And we actually have more cards than we usually pull. So let's see, we got a lot to get through here today. There is so much power on the top shelf, on the top row of cards. Yet I cannot help but notice exhaustion and fighting. So what are we dueling with? What is it that's come over from 2017 that's still here, that is seeking our completion, that is seeking our awareness so that we can bless it, receive its blessing, forgive ourselves, forgive others, and then move on? This is becoming an exhausting cycle to be on repeat, whether we are beating ourselves up, whether we are in a lesson and not getting it. I mean, look at him. He's exhausted, but he's also doing things the same way and expecting a new result. It is a card of fire, and it is also a 9 card, so there is the root of integrity, of wisdom, of completion here. Yet there's still this mental aspect of us that is in this fighting mode. We're fighting with ourselves. We're shadow boxing. What is it that you can let yourself off the hook of this week? This is, now we're coming into our second week of January of 2018. And it is so important that we really, really honor ourselves and honor what has been, but also make peace with it so that we can move on. There are so many blessings ahead for us, and I see so much stuff that we've been working on that's right here in the cards, just waiting to envelop us and waiting to help support us and move us on our way. Yeah, we might be spinning our wheels too much in the direction of those things that have gone south, or those things that didn't come to fruition, or those things that we're still holding regrets on, or feeling that we are punishing others even, or punishing ourselves. So I know for myself, 2017 was pretty cool. It was fine, but December kicked my ass. I mean, it really, really did. And I thought it was done. And then this first week of January just gave me another little kick, and I was like, man, man. But, you know, recognizing all of these things that happen as opportunities for growth, opportunities to like go deeper into recognizing the lesson, the invitation into what is in store for us beyond, right? Because every lesson, everything that kicks our proverbial ass is actually an invitation for us to get to know who we are better, to get to know the truth of ourselves even more succinctly and more clearly. So, what can you let yourself off the hook of this week? What can you do to change the record so that you are not spinning yourself into greater levels of exhaustion, which in turn create the spinning wheels of the mind, which keep us like a hamster on the hamster wheel, just in that like fighting mode. And we're exhausted, and we're going to get even more exhausted. So it's time to lay it down. And you know what I caught myself? I'm going to put this in a bubble of light. I caught myself last month. I was so busy. And it's so funny because all those readings last month, like there was at least 2 of them that had to do with like, you know, self-importance and overdoing it and burning the candle at both ends and getting very stressed. And that was totally me. And I kept hearing myself say, oh, I'm so busy. I am so busy. I don't know, because I'm so busy, you know, and all this sort of stuff last month, which I was incredibly busy, yet I was speaking it so. I was using that word, that verbiage, and do you know what? It exhausted me. Just to keep saying over and over again how busy I was exhausted. I was like, oh, I've got so much work. I just can't. I'm too busy. And just that mindset, planting that in my mind, exhausted me even further, and it made it harder. It caused more stress in my mental continuum, which in turn expressed itself in my physicality, which just made everything like 100 times harder than it really needed to be. So we are invited. So my point with that is that like, what are you even saying into your life that is causing you exhaustion, causing you stress? Do you keep saying, I'm so tired, I'm just so tired, I'm just so tired, I just can't get a break? You know, I realized I had to stop saying how busy I was. Even though I was working and working and working, it didn't help me. It didn't make me feel better to be like, oh God, I'm just so busy. I had to just stop my tongue from saying that, and period. And as soon as I did, sure, I still had to meet all my appointments and do all that stuff, but I was like, oh, this feels so much easier without my mental, you know, without me putting that mental input in it of like how busy I was. So that's just an idea for you. And it's not a big deal, but it is, because these are the 2 first ones that are like bringing us into this reading. So just be mindful, like be gentle on yourself. My God, you know, if you made a mistake, if you messed up, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and forgive others, and let you all to move on. I don't feel that life is too short. It's just like it robs our moment. It robs our present moment, our now power of love, of just relaxing and feeling comfortable and feeling content, no matter where you are and what you're doing and what your circumstances are. So with that, right? Letting go, leaving behind, because there is indeed this even bigger completion on the horizon, and it sits right next to playfulness. And we had playfulness a while ago, and this is where we are not, right, where we change the record, where we're not like, I'm so tired, I'm so busy, I'm so stressed, but then in effect where we say, wow, I've got so much energy, there's so many amazing things that I'm working on, that I'm interested in, and that I'm focused on right now, and I'm putting my attention there, and I'm putting my love and my light there. It reminds us to place love here, place love there, place love everywhere, and in everywhere that you're working. And to keep that, you know, we see this clown, and they're sort of doing this back bend, which is a very heart opener kind of an energy, and they just remind us to be playful. Right? So no matter what's going on, doing our best to create the correct circumstances so that we can have a sense of lightness. A sense of lightness. And by telling ourselves on repeat how stressed we are and how busy we are and how overworked we are, that's not going to correct That's not going to create the correct mental continuum whereby you can like relax into like laughing at yourself, having a giggle and not taking this whole thing so seriously. So lighten up. Now, okay, so we do have this completion card, which I love, which is huge, which is definitely saying, 2017, this is the week, the second week of January, funny enough, where 2017 is going to be over. Whatever those things are that you're ready to release, I know, right? They shoulda, coulda, woulda been done New Year's Eve 2017, cut to 2018, and it's a whole new world. Yet, in this reading, this is saying like it's okay. There's some things that have come over into 2018 from 2017 because of certain timelines, certain karmas, certain lessons. And the third eye, this next level of completion, is serving us, that we get to see these lessons and really how big they impact our lives and how big of a change we can make in our own lives when we in effect pay attention and make those small corrections, like I was saying, right? Making those small corrections, because last week, I'm going to put a link right here to our last week's tarot reading. It's very, very, very powerful. And it was all about this light body activation and this intensity into our new light body, our new light story of being. So we are en route. We are like an arrow. Look at this light being in these beautiful arrows that are culminating into this one arrow that's really coming from the center of their heart and reaching out, and they are just following their heart. They are just zooming and relaxing and trusting it. And that ripple is in effect carrying them. And remember, so we had this totality card that was, when I split the deck, we saw it. This is you participating fully in that new vision, in saying yes to opportunities when they come up, into saying no thank you when certain opportunities arise and they don't serve you, right? That's another way we can exhaust ourselves, is just by saying yes too much to those circumstances and situations that truly do not serve us. And that was a big theme last month as well. And it's when we allow ourselves to be honorable, right, to be integral with ourselves, that then the pieces start to fall into place and the proper order of the Most High can meet us, and we can be received by open hand and open heart by people who recognize us, who are here to open doors for us, who are here to support us, who are here to see us, who are here to say, I've got you, take my hand, right? And to help carry us and take us to that next level. So there's this beautiful mixture of fire and water, because we have playfulness, which is a fire card, and we have intensity, which is a fire card. We have our completion, which is a major arcana on that top row, but we also have receptivity, which is a divine feminine card. This really speaks to, this new book that I have coming out, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration. The subtitle is Why the Law of Attraction Will Only Take You So Far and How to Surpass It. There's a lot of doing with the law of attraction, and there's nothing wrong with the law of attraction. I'll be breaking down the principles in the book later. Yet there is a new way of doing things, and it's really not new at all, but it's new in terms of like, let's start a conversation about it, and let's actually start to apply these feminine aspects in our lives, whereby we simply create the correct conditions within ourselves, open ourselves to be receptive, and allow. And that's how we manifest. That's the key to manifestation, is actually allowing rather than doing and hustling and trying and working so hard. And I know it sounds crazy, and there's definitely a time when that door opens, when that audition calls, when that person says, hey, can you be here at 10 a.m.? We have a situation. We think it's going to be great for you. Absolutely. Get it on, get your paperwork in order, hustle and show up and be your bright and your most beautiful and your best. Yet, 99.9% of the time, what we're being called to this week, January 9th through the 16th, is to be open and receptive. Things are going to show up to us in ways that we would not recognize. They're going to come through people that we would not think that they would come through. They're going to come in ways that are new. There is a new order that is arriving into our lives. Yet, if we are not in our practices with our meditation, meditate, if we are not clear and receptive, if our channels are not clear and receptive, it's going to be very difficult to be open and receptive to those messages, to not judging a book by its cover. Right, to listening to the truth in your heart, to feeling the depth of your gut and what's your tummy, what's your belly telling you? Is it saying get out, or is it saying like go in? Another part of this that I really recommend, and I don't know if I have any, I think there's one, and it's only a 2-minute. I'll put it here, and it's moving an orb of light up and down the Sushumna, up and down the central channel of the energy vehicle. If you know pranayama, if you know any breathing exercises on how to move the breath through the channels, this is the week to come back to those practices or to double down in those practices. If you receive acupuncture, if you receive acupressure, if there's any work that you know that has to do with stimulating the meridian lines, the ley lines, right, within you, the nadis, the channels within you, strengthen those. So yes, if you practice Reiki, lay your hands. Yes, if you do Tai Chi and Qigong. And yes, if you know some acupressure points to activate yourself. Because it's showing that there is even more life force energy that is ready to come into our vessel. Yet if our vessel is not prepared, right? If it's not honed in and clear to receive the downloads, the signals, and really that much more life force energy, it just won't. And there is something here for us this week. There is this level of completion. It's like a mystery. It's like an adventure book. We don't know, or maybe you do know what levels are coming ready to complete, but there's this part in our vision, our third eye vision, that is so important to that new vision that was so big in our reading last week, that gives us wind in our sails, that helps to carry us like that arrow, right, and streamline through the veils of illusion, through the parts of us that would usually hem and haw, or think too long, or have too many negative doubts, or project the worst, or the less high, or be triggered by our old tar body stuff. There's lessons, right? And again, those things that we know that have come over with us from 2017 into this first couple weeks of 2018, they are ready this week. They are formulating themselves to be ready to be released, so that we can bless them and we can be blessed. We can gain another puzzle piece into that third eye vision and be illumined, be awakened, so that we can see the trajectory of this new vision in a new way, okay? So again, your practices, keeping you open, learning some pranayama, even doing that simple Sushumna breathing exercise that I'll put that link up there that is there. And also remember, sprinkle everything with the fairy dust of love. Keep that playful attitude. And it's very hard, I know, if you have very little money, if you don't know where you're staying, if you feel that things aren't going your way, how can you be playful? Well, you can just have the attention and the awareness and the acceptance, right, of allowing yourself to be as light as you can in any given situation, to see the light, to make light of your situation, to call the light in, right? And to, again, not have all the answers, yet to know and to be clear, to say, aha, when that answer comes and knocks on your door, when the opportunity comes, right? It's time then to say, yes, thank you. So paying attention to that. And what's on our bottom row is so beautiful, because we have, again, this bumper to bumper, just phenomenally powerful 3 sets of cards, or 3 cards back to back. And we also have a mind card. So there's so much, this control, there is so much that we're working with, like these first couple cards, right? Fighting, that we had at the beginning of the deck, which is just us shadowboxing, fighting with ourselves. Exhaustion, driving ourselves crazy by rerunning old thoughts and old patterns and not letting ourselves off the hook, right? It's time to be more gentle on ourselves. It's time not to know the way, not to know the answers. And what I mean by that is not to know the way in the sense of Paint with that broad brushstroke. Yes, have a sense, know absolutely what is true to you. What is your calling? What feels right to you? Absolutely, as you make choices along the way. Yet, loosen up. This is what happens when we forget how to be playful, when we forget how to see the light side of life, when we forget to stop and smell the roses and pause and resume our full power in the present moment. This is what happens. We become stuck. We become stuck in the mind. We hold on tightly. And even though this looks almost like the Sphinx, right, on the pyramid, this is a fixed, controlled energy that really is so tightly wound and is so trying to control every single thing, every single place, every single person, every single way, that they spin their own wheels out again, and it's exhausting. But that's just a mental thing. And for some of us, that's just going to be in the background going over, and we can go, oh, there's that control thing again. Let me be mindful. Let me release that. Let me just be aware that that's what it is, and I don't have to get sucked into that. I can be aware of that. I can take a breath, I can release it and bless it and say, oh, thank you, control. I'm going to choose playfulness, okay? What's waiting for us is this absolute abundance. Abundance. Everything is taken care of. And there's even more than you think. There's even more than you think. Everything is taken care of. The masculine and the feminine are divinely balanced. You are sitting upon the story of your life, and you are writing that story of your book. You are writing the story of your book. You are writing the story of your life right now. You're choosing, right? Not only the characters that come in and how you react and respond to them, you are giving them the scripts. And I know that sounds bizarre, but it's absolutely true. Everything on the outside you experience is everything that you are feeling, constructing, harboring, housing, allowing on the inside. And that can be pretty tough to consider that when things are pretty rough on the outside, right? But it's also just a call for greater love. It's also just a call for greater love, because you literally are abundant. Everything you need is taken care of. So maybe it comes in, maybe you do win some money, but also maybe you don't have any money yet. By following your hunches, following your heart, following your belly, your gut, everything that you're guided to gifts you more than you could have even imagined. And that's what that's what this reading wants you to know, is that you are supported. There is abundance for you of everything that you need. Yet a part of it is us allowing ourselves to have it, is us saying yes to it. And again, that has roots in, how do we see ourselves? How do we see our lives? Are we spinning our wheels? Are the things that we're allowing our mind to think and our tongue to speak, are they creating webs that keep us further and further away from abundance consciousness, away from receiving the divine blessings and the gifts of the universe? Or are they bringing us closer and closer to the realization of absolute abundance, of absolute blessings of the Most High? Because they are here for you this week. And right next to it is the Fool card. The Fool, 0. Again, the Fool and playfulness are like brothers. They do not know, neither of them are looking down. Neither of them are looking down. They're not looking where they're going. They're looking up. Their energy is up and forward and out and away. It is giving. It is generous. It is open. It is trusting. It is trusting. And that's what you're invited to be this week. As we let go, right, of stress, of fear, of limitations, of those old records, and how we speak about our loved ones. Remember last week, I believe it was in last week's reading about projections. And are we really even seeing the real person because of all the things, the projections that we put up? When we see someone, can we even see the true version of them through all the veils that we've created of judgment that we have on them? It's time to drop that. And that's a part of your sacred story this week. Dropping that. And being zero, the Fool, the number for the Fool is the zero. The zero is that 0 point energy, is that love and only love. And believe me, I know I have had my lessons. I've had my lessons in these last couple months about that. Yet we're going to use those lessons. We're going to learn from those lessons and take everything, every little nook, every little breadcrumb that we've gathered, and we're going to eat it like medicine, like a shaman, and we're going to just digest it and process it and let it awaken into our cells and our DNA, our magnificence, our true knowing of mastery. No matter what's happening now, being zero, trusting your heart beyond, this is where we go beyond logic. The Fool and playfulness, they are so operating in a realm that makes no sense to a lot of people. There will be people where they're like, they get it, they see it. Yet the majority, just as a status quo level, will not understand what you're doing at all or why you're doing it. Yet this is a part of like the adventure, right? The adventure of you being you and of you trusting you no matter what, and fully relinquishing control. See, and control hates the Fool. Control is like the Fool, this energy, control's like, you fool, you're a fool. And the Fool's like, I love being free. I don't know what's happening, but I trust I'm walking off a cliff. La la la. And control's like, you are a fool. Get off that cliff. Rah, rah, rah. And the Fool's just like, I know that a net will appear. I don't really care. I'm just trust. Okay? So, it's like that. And I think when you're traveling, you really get a sense of that. I know for me, it's one thing to trust that your rent's going to come together, that your bills will be paid, and that your car will get you from A to B. But when you're on the road, when I've backpacked before and been in a foreign country and with zero money and a guitar and what are my skills that I can exchange for some food or for a blanket or some peaches or whatever, like a whole new level of mindfulness and of awareness and trust comes upon us. That to other people, they'd be like, why don't you not do that at all? Because that's just crazy. Why didn't you save $5,000 and stay in a nice hotel and do things properly? Yet, for me, that wasn't the adventure. And so there's this part of an adventure this week that we're invited to go on where we're not looking directly at where we're going. We're looking up and out and open. Yet we are allowing, just like last week, oh my gosh, that step. We don't know where the next step is going to be. But until we take our own step out, that next step won't show up for us. Remember last week, moment to moment, that was a theme. And this is so very powerful. So this is your third chakra. This is you being the creator. This is the culmination of all of these fire cards, the playfulness, intensity, exhaustion, when we've allowed that to be transmuted into a higher order, and not forgetting this totality card that came up, right? The support that we have all around us. This is you. This is absolutely you. Shining ball of chi, of light, of life force in your core, feeling connected to the earth, feeling connected to other people, choosing to belong here, and saying, here I am. Use me, universe. Here I am. God, show me where to go, what to do, what to say, and to whom. I am the creator, yet I am also aware that my creativity is connected to divine source. And so I honor that. And in honoring that, I plug into divine source, and divine source is given its right way to plug into me, and so to channel through me and use me. Use me, God. Use me, great source. Use me, higher power. Use me, life force. Show me how to use you in my life, in my world. And this is so very powerful because that links in with our new vision from last week, and also with this just like brimming intensity of how we're going to start to move forward. And I feel that, again, this second week of January, we're still tying up loose ends. We're reviewing those things. And, we had that long Mercury retrograde in December. And I feel like we're still, tying up threads, tying up knots, and completing, absolutely, because we have our completion card here. But this week is about fine-tuning and looking under the edge of the rug and clearing and cleansing and making peace with or forgiving or changing that mental record of how we've been saying what we've been saying, what we've been speaking over our life, and how we're going to allow ourselves to move forward in greater grace so that we can know, so that we can receive and be receptive to the divine abundance that is ever present for us, moving that energy through our channels, doing our pranayama, our breath work, remembering to act the fool in the highest sense, which is really, and this card is right next to the source, which is totally trusting love. It's totally trusting that higher power to provide everything for it that it needs at any given moment. And that is what this reading is saying. It's so. Keep letting go of how you think it needs to happen so that the magic, the mystery, the mystical can happen in your life right now. And it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. So I am guided to just let's shuffle and let's see if one more card comes out. We'll take a breath. And we'll just ask if there are any clarifying cards, anything else we can be served with and blessed with this week for this reading. We'd be so very grateful. And if not, that's okay too, Divine Source. That's okay too. We thank you, all of our angels, our guides, our totems. Okay. One card fell out. Oh, we need to clarify. Oh, and another card just fell out. So, yes, darlings, we are on the verge. This is schizophrenia. This is where we're in two places at the same time. Yet it is not by way of mystic revelation that we are in two places at the same time. This is us being in two minds. And look at the ravens overhead. The ravens are guiding you. They're calling you. They're looking out for you. Yet, we are choosing to place our awareness here and there, right? And that's that control. That's that fighting. That's where the mind exhausts us. And so, right away, nip it in the bud. Become aware of those parts of your mind that are in two places. This week, it's about becoming one-pointed, right? And always the point is love, is choosing love, is framing things in a new way that are rooted and grounded in love versus fear, versus limitation, versus old projections and judgments. Because what we have is this maturity. This is you. Heart chakra, throat chakra, third chakra, crown chakra. You are crowned. This is the aura that you have when you choose love and light, even if someone has hurt you. I mean, obviously, there are situations where if your heart and soul say, don't go near them, don't go into that house, or don't go into that situation, absolutely honor that. Yet, if there are situations, family members, loved ones, friends, where you know that the way that you hold them in your mind simply creates more fighting, simply creates more exhaustion for you trying to just keep those threads going. And by you trying to keep those threads going, it's keeping you in this rung of like control, which is so tiring. Yet the moment you begin to just see with the eyes of love, it gets easier. Again, when you say, use me, I plug into you, Source. The Source plugs into you, and then it can show you how to create with it, how to create paradigms of love. Real maturity is using everything that you've learned and putting it to work. Maturity comes from wisdom, Not from just reading things in books. It comes from the actual experience of utilizing, of putting into practice that which you've learned. Are you attuned with Reiki? Are you laying your hands? Do you draw your symbol? Do you meditate and, use your Reiki as a part of your healing? Are you any kind of a student in any sort of a spiritual art? Yet are you practicing? Are you practicing thinking positive? Are you practicing writing in your journal new positive affirmations, rewriting that subconscious mind? I lived in New York for 7 years, and I had hours upon hours every day sitting in the subway. And do you know what I did besides meditate and journal on the subway? Is I spent that time creating new affirmations. And I have a box, and there's this like thick stack of all of these text cards that I would write on the front and write on the back. And I would sit there and I would reprogram my mind, just paying attention to where there are old, limited, fear-based, just toxic even thoughts that really create a paradigm of fear in me about the world and about other people. And it could even be deep, close loved ones. And I would just sit there and I'd rewire my brain, re-brainwash my brain. And then, because I had that new foundation to go on, instead of those old patterns, beliefs, and paradigms, when I was in a situation where I realized, I could go to that old paradigm, or I can practice that new affirmation and actually execute it, actually embody it, live it, and extend it. That's the maturity. It's having the wisdom to create the experience that you know is yours, that you know you deserve, that you know is for your highest good, over and over and over again. And that's just the lesson, though, right? Sometimes we hit, sometimes we get a slam dunk, and sometimes it's like, ooh, I need to work on that. Ooh, I need to work on that one a little bit more. But that's what brings us into the maturity, is the actual experience of doing the work. Doing the work, not just reading the book. The books are great, though. The books are awesome. Yet, putting it into practice so that you can be met by that most high love and light, and let it channel through you. Because yes, you are creating this new vision, but you know what? Source, God, love, light is creating in tandem with you, through you, and to you. And what can be created by Source is limitless. And as amazing as we are, there are certain limitations to our beingness. Yet when we connect with Source, right, there is an eternal platform of beauty, of bliss, of profundity, in wellness, in health, in abundance, in blessings showering over us now and evermore. So allow those things to complete this week. Get out of being in two places at once with your mind. When we learn self-mastery, please check out, I'll put a link to one of my 4D Trinity shows here. Every Thursday I go live and I have a show called 4D Trinity. And it's about fourth dimensional consciousness and bridging fourth dimensional consciousness through the unity of mind, body, and spirit. And early on, I think it was the second maybe show or the third show, we were talking about self-mastery. And that's it. It's being very aware, very mindful of where you allow your mind and your thoughts to go, and using your willpower to direct and to hone and to harness your energy, the energy of your mind, of your thoughts, consciously in the way of love, in the way of light, no matter what, no matter what. And so thinking of that and being aware of that can help you get out of this being in two places at once, which is like, well, is it this, is it that, is it this, is it that, is it this, is it that, and knowing that too much thinking is also a part of the control thing, and it keeps us bound, it keeps us locked. And where's that card, that fighting card? We're that hamster on that hamster wheel again, just fighting with ourselves, going nowhere fast, and eventually burning ourselves out. So getting out of those patterns this week, lightening up, remembering love, remembering to place love, remembering to balance and open our channels this week. Breathe, 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 breathe. There is this really beautiful chakra kundalini breathing exercise that I want to do with you soon. And I don't know if we'll do it live or if I will do a video, but I'm really guided to share that with you soon. I think it would be very, very beautiful. So that's it, my friends. I thank you so much for being here. I bless you. And you got this. You got this. You're getting ready for takeoff. But the old cannot go to the new landscapes. You are ever blessed, ever abundant, ever mature and wise, and so it is. I thank you with all of my heart for being here, for sharing. Thumbs up, liking, commenting. Bless and namaste, everyone.